Hello, I'm Nathan Judo. I'm here with Wolves reporter Tim Spiers. Just spoken to Kenny Jackett. Tim, and what's the latest with the takeover talks?
Well, I think the big thing that came out of that with Jackett is that he couldn't guarantee that he'll be in charge for Cork next week. I mean, there's so much uncertainty about the place at the moment. Everything's in limbo. You know, if this all goes ahead and Wolves have a billionaire owner, then that's fantastic, and they can look forward not only to the new season but years in the future. But at the moment, and you know, we've said this before, Wolves are in a bit of trouble, really, for the here and now. If we're looking at the new season, you only got to see the squad that they put out against Shrewsbury on Saturday. You know, a lot of kids involved. I think we'll see for the squad for Cork for next week, you know, just how threadbare they are at the moment. But Jackett can't make any guarantees about the future, so everything's up in the air, and that can't be healthy so close to the season.
Well, like you say, I think it's 3 weeks and 5 days until the start of the season. You know, as things stand, there is a lot of excitement out there, but for Rotherham away, it's not looking particularly promising, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, you look at the team they had at the end of the last season, it's pretty much the same as that, minus a couple that have left.
Potentially Kevin McDonald not there
potentially
either?
Kevin McDonald not there. So you'll be looking at throwing kids in again. You know, we hoped Dicko would be back. We're not sure about him. Williamson is still out. You know, they haven't signed a striker since Joe Mason, despite them wanting to sign one so badly on January transfer deadline day. And yet here we are, God knows how many months later, with still no striker in place. Now, for all we know, you know, the takeover happens, the new manager comes in, and he's instantly got, you know, 4, 5 or 6 players ready to be signed up on. You know, perhaps that's on loan or permanently. You know, we've certainly heard rumblings about that. But this is all just possibles, ifs, buts and maybes at the moment. And yeah, for August the 6th at Rotherham, you know, all this talk of the bookies putting Wolves as favourites for promotion. I mean, it's laughable, really, when you look at the squad they've got at the moment.
Tough for Kenny Jackett. You feel for him, don't you, a little bit?
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, he's I think he's resigned to his fate, but he's not going to walk away.
No. Just
because it doesn't happen for a start.
Yeah.
But also, you know, this is the biggest job of his career. And once again, I mean, this happened all last season. When there are problems with the club, he's the mouthpiece. He's the spokesperson. He's the only one that's coming out talking here. I appreciate Wolves, you know, reluctant to put a statement on about this takeover, which really says anything of any substance.
Yeah.
But there's no one else talking. It's just left to Kenny again to talk about how far away the takeover is. To talk about.
Fair dues. He comes out twice a week, doesn't he, and fronts it, and you can't knock that, because I'm sure a lot of people in this situation would just say we're not speaking to anyone.
And he answers every question we put to him, you know, honestly. And he's a man of great pride who deserves better than the treatment he's getting. You know, it's been what, at least a couple of weeks now since this all has surfaced, and he's got to try and get on with his job. And people can say he's well paid, but that's rubbish. You know, this man is football. He lives and breathes football. He has done since he started playing as a teenager. Football is his life. Wolves is the biggest job of his life, and it's all kind of falling apart around him. But he's got no place to hide either. He can't run and hide. He's still got to front up every week. He's still got to try and prepare these players for pre-season, while they're worried about their futures as well. I mean, you just can't say, oh, they're professionals, they've got to get on with their job. It's the same in every company. If you heard there was going to be a takeover at your company and all your jobs were instantly under threat, then you wouldn't be able to get on with your job.
No.
You know, regardless.
Got to be affected in some way.
All affected in some way. So we just need confirmation. We need to know definitively that this is happening one way or the other.
So, from a fan's point of view on Twitter, Tim Spiers, is this takeover happening? When is this takeover happening? You know, where are we at this moment in time?
We believe it's very, very close. I'll be expecting an announcement this week.
I think this week, this could be the week.
It's gone up to the Football League for documentation to be approved. We know that. Signings are very much still on hold, including free transfers. We know that. Despite Nick Powell following Wolves on Twitter yesterday, which kind of tells you that that's a done deal, and perhaps waiting, you know, for this announcement. So everything's on hold. I think with it being so close to the start of the season, they wouldn't be putting off transfers if this was still 3-4 weeks away. You know, they'd be getting on with business. They'd be selling players. They'd be buying players. But as it is, they're still very much waiting, which tells me, and from what we hear from certain sources, etc., you know, this is happening in the next week.
So do you believe it's not just crossing the I's and dotting the T's? Do you believe that there have been basically negotiations about certain players, and they will have players ready to go as soon as that's signed?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, we hear from people in Spain that Lopetegui will be bringing his backroom staff with him that it's all been pretty much signed, sealed. The certain players will be joining him as well. And then you've got the fact that Kevin McDonald's perhaps been allowed to leave. It all suggests that it's very, very close. Obviously, these things are very complicated and things can still go wrong. But as far as we know, it's happening this week. And personally, I wouldn't expect Kenny to be going to court next week.
You kind of feel like it's going to be a little bit of short-term pain for long-term gain, really, this season. Do you agree with that?
As in the situation we're in now?
Yeah, with the squad and the playing squad and maybe fixtures and results early on.
Absolutely. I mean, we have to put both sides of the picture forward here, and we know, from experience that these things can fall apart, and then we'll be left in a terrible situation. So we have to put that side forward. But yeah, on the flip side, if they're taken over this week by a multi-billionaire, then there are hugely exciting times ahead, hugely, and the whole face of this club will be transformed.
And you will be the first to know, because if that announcement does happen this week, we will be the first. They will be at Molineux ready to go. We'll bring you all the latest Wolves news on this potential takeover exclusively at expressandstar.com.